Well, earlier this week, Netball South Africa announced a new captain to lead the team to the next Netball World Cup that takes place in Australia in 2027. Khanyisa Chawane is the new captain and takes over the reins from Bongi Msomi, who announced her retirement last year after leading South Africa to a 6th place finish at the Netball World Cup hosted in Cape Town, which was the first Netball World Cup on African soil. Well, Khanyisa joins us now in studio to talk about this new era in South African netball as the team now builds towards 2027. Thank you so much for joining us, Khanyisa, here on the AM Report, and welcome. Take us through the process, because, of course, for the majority of the country, we found out on Wednesday that you would be the new captain. When did you find out? What was the process like to lead us to this place where you're now looking ahead to 2027?
No, thank you very much, Andee. I think being part of the Spar Proteas for such a long time, I've been under such leadership of Bongi and basically the leadership group, and we knew that they were coming to an end at some point. It would lead to their retirement, so we needed someone to take over. I think there's just a lot of training underneath the squad, just having to look into that role and who's going to take over after that. And I think once they retired, I think everyone was just looking at who can take over in the group. So having chats with the president of Netball South Africa, she just said she'll be speaking to the new coaches, because we have a new coaching staff and they're the ones that have to look within the group on who's going to take over. So having those chats with the coaches, they're the ones that gave through the names. And when I found out, I was obviously shocked. I mean, it's a world of sport. Nothing is given. You have to work hard for whatever comes your way. So when that opportunity came and they said I was going to be the captain, I was obviously excited. But yeah, I was also having, I was basically shocked to say, okay, this is going to be a big thing that's coming in my journey, but I'm excited to take that.
How difficult was it to keep it a secret? Because of course you would have known for a while, but you have to keep that poker face until the official news breaks. Yeah,
because things work with protocol, especially with Netball South Africa. You don't really want to jump the gun or step on toes. Netball's president, Cecilia Mulukwane, likes doing things her way and likes doing things the Netball South Africa way. So we want to make sure that we're in that and we support her in that. So when I found out, I needed to make sure that I keep my mouth shut.
Talk me through the leadership dynamics then, because we have a Carla Pretorius, who is the vice captain, who's going to continue in that role. But many would have thought then, when you're looking for a new captain, you look first with the vice captain and then perhaps have her elevated to the captaincy and have a new captain coming in. But it's a different dynamic with you. You come in to have that experience to back you up. What role is Carla going to play versus the role that you'll play as the captain?
I think what I like with my relationship with Carla at this point is we work very well together. We know each other. We come from the same place. So we have done a lot of things together. So I don't think the title matters in this type of relationship. The title of captaincy is just, I won't say just a name, but it doesn't really say any difference in what we're going to do. She's more of a mentor towards me, a senior towards me, because I found her there. She's always played that big role of not necessarily a big sister, but a big sister in that space. So it's going to continue like that. I don't think there's any superior or anyone who's inferior within the position. So it's just us coming together, working together, because at the end of the day, it has to be at the benefit of the group and not necessarily us as individuals.
But talk me through what this means then for you as Khanyisa Chawane. Of course, a story that many are familiar with, a young girl who lost her mom at a very young age and turned to netball as some form of solace. And I know you were quite emotional when the announcement was made because of what that means to you in light of the journey. Share a bit of that with us.
I think speaking about losing my mother at a young age, it was really the age where my netball was starting to look up. I needed that support from my mother. I needed that support from a parent in general. And when she passed away, it just looks like a hopeless story. Each and every person, or majority of the people, when you lose a mother, you become hopeless. A lot of people look hopeless. You don't have a future. And I was just privileged to have my coach, Charmaine Biertger, to really take me in as a child and actually foster me in my netball career. So netball really took care of me after that. And it's just a story of moving from a hopeless situation to actually giving hope, not to only myself, but to each and every girl out there who's actually looking to say, I look hopeless at this point, but there is hope when you actually focus on your dream and you focus on something that can really take you forward.
And how are you then hoping to give hope to those youngsters now within your new role? Of course, we know you're stepping into big shoes, those of Bongi Msomi, but you want to have your own stamp as Khanyisa. What is going to be your philosophy going forward? Because we're used to GCT, which is the team philosophy. Bongi Msomi was quite clear about that. How do you take that forward?
I say this all the time now with all these interviews, and I say I'm actually thankful for Bongi being such a great leader, because she just laid such a beautiful or an easy foundation to just take over the baton and basically run with the legacy. Because you want to foster an environment where everyone feels comfortable to want to do well, you know, and I think that's what I'd want to bring within this group, that whoever comes within this group, because there's changes, anything can happen, the group won't stay the same, but whoever wants to play for the Spar Proteas, they must know that there's a leader or there's a group that makes them feel included, that gives them that confidence to want to go out on that court and actually do their best without them feeling judged, without them feeling isolated, or without them having to feel like they need to prove themselves. Them being there already makes them good enough. So it's just fostering that environment of being comfortable in your own self and being comfortable in performing and doing well, not only for yourself, but for the people around you.
Yeah, let's talk about the performance then, because it now switches focus to 2027. The new cycle has already started. Finishing 6th place at home must have been quite disappointing for the side, and you'll want to step out stronger in Australia. The work has started, the team is in camp while you are here. Take me through some of the vision that you have as the captain that you've shared with the coaches to make sure that South Africa finishes higher than 6th place come 2027.
Yeah, I think being part of the group from 2019 World Cup and then 2023 World Cup, there's just a lot of lessons as an individual or as a group that we have learned during that time. And we speak a lot of wanting to get the medal, but it's really that action that we need to put out on court, out off court as well, that can push us to actually medaling. So we want to be #1 in the world. That is the ultimate goal. That's the ultimate dream, you know. But it's going to take a lot of goals and steps that we need to basically make short-term goals and long-term goals for us to end up being #1 in the world. So those short-term goals is actually going into a Commonwealth game, going into a World Cup and actually competing to medal. Once you have medaled, then it gives you a sense of direction of wanting to be #1 in the world. So those are the goals that I have as the captain of this team, to say, yes, we put goals to want to medal, but we want to be #1. So it's a bigger dream, it's a bigger goal. We're going to need bigger short-term goals that will lead us to being #1 in the world.
Well, there are a number of challenges as well as you look to navigate your way around to perhaps getting to #1, and one of them has been access to facilities. Unfortunately, netball being under-resourced means that you have to move from place to place sometimes to get your training. And we did have a chat earlier on with Premier Panyaza Lesufi around potentially getting that stadium that was promised by President Cyril Ramaphosa. How important would you say that is for you as the netball community to know that you'd have a venue that you can use at will and to give you a bit more momentum as you prepare?
Yeah, I think that's very important, because having a home makes you feel comfortable and you know that you can have access to that place whenever you need it. And I think that's the challenge that we have now, is having to set out camps, and you need to actually first realize, oh, there's a venue, we need to accommodate this type of people and all of those things. So when you have a home, most of those things are basically not sidelined, but they're off your shoulders. It's things that will come off your shoulders. So it's very important for us to have our own home and not rely on other provinces or on other stadiums to accommodate us, because they also have certain things that they need to do with that. So when we have our own home, we can access it at any time. We can train at it any time. So we don't have to wait or take long for us to want to train whenever we want to train. So it's just going to make our job a bit easier.
Well, I hope the powers that be are listening and will heed the call to make that stadium available. But thank you so much, Khanyisa, for joining us right here on the AM Report, of course, as she forges the new way forward for Netball South Africa as the new captain of the side as they look ahead to 2027. We're going to